guys, welcome to the program. My name is Joker. Some say I have a face for radio and a voice for print. Today, companies are now avoiding woke college students, specifically Ivy League. The Ivy League colleges have sold out to the woke identities. They've gone very far left-leaning, so much so now that normal companies realize these are problematic students. They're more interested in protesting and yelling about the world than actually doing quality work. And it seems that there's actually a lot of cheating going on at the colleges as well. And so as these young people are hired, colleges or the corporations realize these young people don't know anything. We're going to start right off here from the College Fix. Employers more skeptical of hiring Ivy League grads, survey finds. They say the results follow reports of grade inflation, plagiarism, anti-Semitism, and more. An Ivy League diploma is losing its worth in many employers' eyes. A recent Forbes survey found employers have grown more skeptical of applicants from the most prestigious schools in the U.S. in the last 5 years, a period marked by race-based admissions, grade inflation, anti-Semitism, plagiarism, and leadership double standards. According to the survey, 1 in 3 employers said they're less likely to hire an Ivy League graduate than they were just 5 years ago. Meanwhile, only 7% of them were more likely to hire them. Employers' hesitation was specific to Ivy Leagues too. Now, I do recall there was an article that said that companies are actually skipping over college graduates completely. Let me see if I can grab that now that I think about it. All right, I haven't proofread this or anything else, but let's see. This is from CBS News. More U.S. companies no longer requiring job seekers to have a college degree. Employers across a range of industries are dropping job requirements once considered a ticket to higher paying job and financial security, a college degree. And they say with the tight labor markets, etc. They're getting away from college students completely. And I'm not going to really drill down on that because that's not the highlight of the story. But because people are leaving they're leaving with a degree, but it's not in anything that matters, a lot of them outside of the STEM. And they're leaving now with more desire to protest and yell about the world and are actually coming out anti-capitalist out of colleges. More companies are just saying, you know what? We're not down with this. And the Ivy League colleges are the worst because they're the ones that have hired the most woke of everybody. They're the ones that are putting in these people that are not credentialed to run the colleges. And I think it was Harvard. One of them came out and come to find out the person running the college, the woman running the college, had actually cheated and plagiarized on many of her projects and papers that she wrote. They say the bloom has been off the Ivies, says Fred Prager, a senior managing director at Hilltop Securities and a trustee at California's Claremont McKenna College, whose investment firm specializes in higher education. What has occurred more recently with the bug and with all this nonsense going on post-October 7th and all the rest has just been a bit of an accelerant. Being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes really is important, says Laura Beer, a San Diego-based management consultant specializing in healthcare and defense. Kids who've been in public school have a broader diversity of friends from different backgrounds, teachers from different backgrounds, and are better able to be nimble in those situations. So really what they're saying here is, look, it's actually more diverse not in the Ivy League colleges. The Ivy League colleges, they have one school of thought when it comes to leftism, how to feel about the Israel-Palestine issue, and it's more important to protest than it is to actually go to class and get a good degree. And I've got other articles to read from. I just kind of want to go down this one because this is the main one. They say the results are hardly a surprise. Harvard and the University of Pennsylvania lost several major donors, and later both their presidents resigned amid criticism about their handling of the Palestine and Israel conflict. Major law firms and judges have also issued letters to top law schools that raise concerns about their priorities and warn students about their anti-Semitic activism. Who can blame them? When diversity and equity take priority over merit and nearly every student receives an A, it's hard for employers to figure out who's the best candidate for the job. When universities quietly let slide calls for the ending of the Jewish people, while allowing students to shout down those who believe it's wrong to end an unborn kid, and a majority of students believe that it's acceptable, employers are going to wonder about their values of Ivy League applicants. The point of college is to prepare students for successful careers. It's clear the Ivy Leagues need major reevaluation of their priorities and missions. Trustees, administrators, and especially parents and future students should be paying attention. These colleges now are given so much money. They get government grants. They have money coming from donors. Of course, the students are racked for $40,000, $60,000, $80,000 per semester. And in order to keep these students who really aren't qualified to keep coming to the college, they're allowing anybody to apply, and they're letting these government loans go out there. So they're letting kids show up that wouldn't pass. Ivy League used to be really hard to get into, and it was the best of the best of the best. Now, because of DEI and everything else, they're letting people that shouldn't be going to these colleges show up. They're getting themselves in debt. In many cases, they don't pass. And in cases where they probably shouldn't pass, they're now giving them grades that allow them to pass. And thus they're walking out as lawyers, doctors, attorneys, and who knows, lawyers and attorneys are the same thing. Well, attorneys, doctors, work professionals, and they don't have the credentials to actually be good in the work world. Also from the College Fix, MIT grew staff by 1,200 positions while enrollment barely budged. University hired 6 new DEI deans in 1 year. This is why college is so expensive. I saw a chart a long time ago, and it showed grades, and grades are kind of flat for college graduates. But then again, remember, they're faking a lot of those grades. Enrollment is kind of flat, but the number of people that they've hired, it used to be, and I forget the exact numbers, but it used to be, a couple of administrators per 10 students. Now it's 20 administrators per 1 student. It's just becoming almost like a social program for people that are unqualified to actually be in the work world. They say the Massachusetts Institute of Technology added more than 1,200 new administrative support staff positions in less than a decade, including 6 diversity, equity, and inclusion assistant deans in 1 year. Meanwhile, between 2013 and 2022, undergraduate student enrollment remained basically flat. The administrative hiring increase coincides with concerted efforts by the Research University to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion through its program. During the 2022-2023 school year, the most recent data available, the university employed 6,693 full-time administrators and support staff, according to information the school filed with the Federal Integrated Post-Secondary Education Data System. They say in 2013, that number was 5,474. So they're adding all these positions that don't do anything for the students, that don't help anybody, but it's just more money, and that's why it's getting so expensive to go to these colleges, and they're accepting everybody in them anymore. This from Chris Rufo, Plagiarism and Disparities. He's talking about the problems in the colleges here as well. And this is just from July 11th, yesterday. Journalism, in part, is the work of turning up stones. Sometimes a reporter finds nothing underneath. Other times he discovers a shock, a scandal, and corruption. He said, I've observed this dynamic in recent months regarding academic plagiarism. I've been one of a handful of reporters, including Christopher Brunet, Aaron Sybrum, and Luke Rosiak, who flipped the rock on academia and discovered widespread fraud, plagiarism, and dishonesty. We exposed the president of Harvard, several DEI administrators, and professors in the grievance disciplines. At first, this prestige press ignored these academic misbehaviors. Then, under enormous pressure, they acknowledged it, couched it with caveats and excuses, and finally, in the face of overwhelming evidence, they adopted the left's defensive counter-narrative, claiming that exposing plagiarism in academia is a form of profiling designed to bully and intimidate black women. This is where, you can only keep the sham in life going on so long. Eventually, the truth always shines through. Whether you go back to countries that eventually turned to socialism, countries that accidentally turned to communism, various things like that, what ultimately happens is they get caught. The truth shines through. You can lie to people about the economy, about money, about inflation, You can lie to them and dumb people will listen, but the smart ones pretty soon will figure out what's going on. And then when things get bad enough, even the dumb ones figure out what's going on. College has turned into one big scam. It's almost like a Ponzi scheme. This is from Independent. Harvard University will hold its first ever black-only graduation ceremony. Organizers say it will celebrate black achievement and draw attention to the university's legacy of slaveholders. This is what we're talking about, right? This is Harvard. So remember, at one point in time, you'd have a sign over a doorway that says whites only and blacks only. And they'd say, this is not acceptable. You should not be letting, the black students or the black workers, or same thing on the water fountains and the bathrooms and everything else. And turn around and what do you know? Just like history has shown us many times before, this is the left. The left always goes back to its roots. And what they've done here is the same thing. Instead of saying, we let all the whites in the good area and the blacks get the secondary stuff. Now they're saying, well, they're both equal, but we still want them celebrated. But it's to celebrate black students. Call it what you will. It's still the same thing. It's othering somebody. And before it might have been othering the black people. Now it's othering the white people. It's the same thing. It's the same thing when you say colored people. It's the same thing when you say people of color. They always go back to their roots, and they've done it again. Harvard University will host a graduation ceremony exclusively for black students. Organizers have announced more than 170 students and 530 guests have signed up to attend the event, which will be held May 23rd. All black ceremonies have been held at other universities such as Stanford, Columbia, and this is Harvard, all the Ivy Leagues. The event was crowdfunded by students who raised over $27,000 this year. All black ceremonies is open to only to graduate students, but organizers hope to open up to undergraduates next year. It's an opportunity to celebrate Harvard's black excellence and black brilliance. It's more othering. That's all it is. So one thing to understand is when you are ostracizing, when you're grouping people up on any characteristic, you're othering them. You're saying we are not the same. Yet socialism and what a lot of the left say is we're all the same. We need to be inclusive and everybody is the same. But then they run into the problem because you look at certain communities and they're definitely saying that they're not the same. A white man trying to get into Harvard? No. A black woman? Yes. A straight man? No. Someone of the LGHD TV community? Yes. They can't help but separate everybody because it's what they do. But yet then they scream about equality and making everybody equal. This is why the left will eventually fail, because you can't separate people into groups and at the same time say the groups are equal, because you have to keep breaking it down. This is a black person. This is a white person. This is a black woman. This is a white man. This is someone of the LGHD TV. This is straight. And by the time you break it all down into groups, you know what you have? Individualism. Everybody is their own unique person. And then when you sit back and say, well, how do we make this work? All people are created equal. They'll eventually get around to it, but they're going to fight it the whole way. And they're going to tear down the institutions and everything that comes along with it just to get there. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's a good thing that this is happening. Because at the end of the day, when these people are in charge of the colleges, these people are also in these corporations, the free money is gone. We're going to be running in some very hard times soon. People are going to have to drop out of college universities because they can't afford to go. They can't afford to take these loans anymore. The economy is going to get bad, and people can't afford to go to these restaurants or these corporations and spend their money, and then they're going to have to take some haircuts. And the first ones to go are going to be this DEI and all these other people doing this stuff. They're going to have to trim the fat. And I said that in my other video, that CNN's trimming the fat. All these corporations, everything that's going on, they're going to have to trim. And the people that go away are the worthless people. And the worthless people are the ones that believe in this stuff. Will it ever go away completely? I don't know. But I can tell you, these systems and these colleges and these corporations and everybody else that has this going on, they're going to fall apart. There isn't enough free money to go around for all these social programs that they do in these colleges, and someone's going to have to pay. Ultimately, it's going to be the people that are taking out hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of loans in these colleges to get their education, and then they're going to come out and nobody's going to want them because they come from one of these universities that people don't trust anymore, and they're coming out with very low skills. They're not getting the skill sets they need. All they do is they come out with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And ironically, it's really not the young people's fault. It's not their fault. It's the college administrations. It's the corporations. It's this whole Ponzi scheme at the top. And they're taking the money from these students on these loans that they can't get rid of, putting them into almost indentured servitude for the rest of their lives to pay off these loans. And you're giving the money to the worthless people. And there's going to be a lot of angry people when it's all over. I can tell you that much. Guys, if you like my work, once again, thanks for joining me today. Hop over to betterbachelor.locals.com. Become a supporter today. It's about the only place I can put nickels in my pocket, so I appreciate your support. It's $5 a month. Please come over and join us today. Great community of like-minded individuals. I hope you do, and we'll see you in the next one.